What is up, ladies and gentlemen? It is April 22nd, 2025, and welcome to this week's edition of Tuesdays with Turbo. And we have taken a couple weeks hiatus here, so I do want to apologize for that. The missus and I went on a little weekend vacation, which extended into Monday a couple weeks ago. Then we had Easter, so kind of a weird last couple weeks. But that's not to say that this week's episode is any less important, because this is kind of the one that I've been wanting to do. It is going to be rather controversial, so kind of keep in mind with that. But this is, in doing these videos, I try to be as blunt and as upfront and transparent as possible. So this is going to be what we're going to be talking about today. Is not covered, sorry, home maintenance myths busted. And you might be asking yourself, well, Ryan, what do you mean by that? Well, we've had a lot of storms here lately, and a buddy of mine over on Facebook, CJ, put up a post that kind of reaffirmed my need to do this video, because there was some, we've for some reason, Southwest Lower Michigan here has become Tornado Alley the last few years, and I don't like it. I know you don't like it. But when it comes to what happens after, where does insurance stop and kind of home ownership take over? So that's what we're going to talk about today. For those of you that do not know, my name is Ryan Turbo Jackson. I am your insurance resource, and I like to do videos like this to educate people on what they're buying, what they're covered for, what they're not, and to break down insurance language, because let's be honest, insurance is its own language, so let me help you. So to kind of continue on the intro here, homeowners insurance. We all know that the price of homeowners insurance has gone through the roof here the past couple years. And we keep, we get calls day in and day out. Well, why is this? We've never had a claim. We always pay our premium, and the vast majority of the time, as an agent, we're having to tell folks that the cost of materials are increasing, the cost of labor is increasing, which is true. It's not that we're fabricating any of that, but there's some more deep down causes of the increase in premium. Most importantly, are claims that really should not be processed or even filed, let's put it that way. And a lot of it comes down to, sometimes there's stuff that happens at your house that you just have to own up to, that it is part of home ownership. And I wrote down a note here that your home insurance is not your landlord, meaning that you have ownership of your home. Now, if you have a renter's policy, please disregard any of this. This does not really apply to you. But for those of you that are homeowners, there is a certain pride and responsibility in owning a home. Maintenance, you got to keep up the yard. The last couple videos we've talked about home maintenance tips as we're heading into spring. These are all things that are kind of assumed when you are a homeowner. Now, yes, there are times when a claim needs to be made. A claim hands down needs to be made, because that's what you pay your premium for. You don't pay your premium for neglect or lack of maintenance, or as we'll get into some of these examples, you'll see exactly where I'm coming from. And this is not me saying this just to keep my, here at Abbott and Powers or the Newell Agency, to keep the number of our claims down. If we need to make a claim, by all means, we'll guide you through the process and make sure that claim is taken care of to the best of our abilities. But when it comes to, there's a misconception about your home insurance. Your home insurance is not there to make regular maintenance. Your home insurance is not there to take care of little frivolous things. Your home insurance is there for life-changing things, okay? And you might be saying, well, why do I pay the premiums if I can't file a claim when I want to? We can. But as we're seeing through a lot of the past handful of storms, is that the insurance company is keeping up on their end, but the homeowners are not. And I'll kind of get into a little bit more what I mean by that. So kind of keep that in mind. And I've said it multiple times in the past, your home insurance is not a maintenance policy. And your home insurance is not your landlord, meaning that the insurance company should fix or repair anything and everything that goes wrong at your home or in your home. So let's kind of get into some of these examples here. And I do want to give CJ a shout because he's the one that I'm assuming he made this meme. It says the insurance company, and what this means is a tree falls on the property. The insurance company's like, nah, that's not us. The insurance company, if the tree falls on the house, yep, that's us. That's us. So this is part of home ownership. It's part of maintaining your yard and the things in it. Now, there is some coverage for debris removal, but it's not as much as what people think. And then you have to talk about your deductibles and everything like that. So a lot of times it's cheaper just to take care of, or pay to have, or as I know for a fact that there are plenty of people volunteering with chainsaws and everything to clean up people's yards after the last storm. To me, that's just part of home ownership. And CJ is out of Tennessee, and they've been experiencing very similar kind of weather experiences that we have here in Michigan. So again, big shout out to CJ for not only kind of furthering my need to do this video, but just to give me a few more ideas. So what kind of things, when I talk about home maintenance, are not covered? And there's a couple of these that are kind of, that we've touched on, but there's some of them that really haven't. So let's get into the first one. The first and foremost, is flood. We've talked about this at great lengths. That's why you have to have a separate flood policy to cover water coming from the outside of the dwelling coming in. That's what's considered a flood. It can happen to one home, it can happen to two homes. It doesn't need to be a flood situation where multiple homes flood. Like I said, it could be a very, very unique situation. It doesn't have to be, FEMA coming in for your insurance purposes for it to be considered a flood. So keep that in mind. Which does happen here in Michigan from time to time, but is a little bit more prevalent than the next one, which is earthquakes. Now, some companies you can add endorsements to get you earthquake coverage, and those coverages vary from company to company. So if you're really interested in that, I suggest talking to your agent. But first and foremost, like we said, let's bring CJ's meme up here. Again, tree falling on your property, not really covered by insurance. Tree falling on your home, covered by your insurance. So let's talk about the next one. It says not covered. Sorry, these are the most common home maintenance fails people try to claim on their insurance, but they definitely shouldn't. And you're going to see myself and Mary go through this little journey together. So let's get on to the first one. And this is something that is we've seen it be very apparent here in the last couple of years, is a leaky roof from wear and tear, not covered. Insurance isn't your roofer. It covers sudden damage, not shingles from the 1990s. So let me take a step back and kind of further explain that one, because this is becoming a hot button subject. Not only are companies really, really cracking down on roof age and having us verify roof ages, but they are also shortening the time to when a roof that had been covered on a replacement cost basis is now being covered on an actual cash value basis, meaning they will deteriorate the value of the roof depending on how old it is. And I've also seen too that some companies, if the roof is 10 years or older, start to depreciate the roof and start charging extra to have their roof covered. And as we talked about a couple weeks ago when we talked about the increase in home insurance deductibles, we talked about wind and hail deductibles. So again, some companies are going to, all right, well, if your roof is 10 years or older, we're having you carry a higher deductible because your roof is older. Or if the roof is old enough, they just won't provide any coverage because it exceeds their regulations. So one of the things that I highly it says, if your roof is 20 years or older and starts leaking, insurance won't cover it. That's considered wear and tear. And I get this so much. Well, the last time we had the roof replaced, we put 30-year shingles on it. Well, if you're able to get the warranty for those 30-year shingles at year 20, I would highly suggest you start a claim with your roofer and the manufacturer, because that's on them. That's not on the insurance company. So again, now when is a roof covered? Well, if it's storm related, weather related, and sudden damage, tree falls on it, a limb falls on it. That's, hail, things of that nature. But then again, keep in mind the age of the roof. So that, again, very, very hot button issue right now. And again, one that we all should be kind of, and by all means, if you do get a new roof, please provide your agent with an invoice or bill so that they can update the age of the roof. And a lot of times it's a discount. And getting back to what I said about claims, that the amount of claims are driving premium. This is always the age old. Whenever there's a storm, you'll see out of town roofers come through and be like, "Oh, well, we can get you a new roof. We can get your insurance to pay for a new roof." Well, possibly, but all in all, the more this happens, the higher your premiums are going to be, and everyone else's, because of this quote unquote widespread storm that went through. And yes, there has been some legit ones. So I'm definitely painting, using a broad brush to paint this picture, but you kind of get the idea. Well, let's go to the next one here. Drip denied. Slow pipe leaks and rusty plumbing aren't sudden. You should have called your plumber territory. And again, this definitely gets into the maintenance part of it, because as we know, a leaky pipe isn't just going to cause damage to the plumbing, it's going to cause damage to everything underneath it, because water drips down. So if there's a subfloor, flooring, a basement, anything below that, it's going to cause damage to that. So it's kind of one thing, if we would have nipped it in the bud early, had a very simple fix to the plumbing, it would have definitely not. It would have avoided further damage down below to like I said, the flooring, subfloor, or even if there's a basement below it. So again, something that is not covered. Let's see here. Number 4, termites ate your wall. Not covered. Insurance doesn't cover snack time for pests. That's maintenance, not mayhem. And again, this is going back. Now, you might be saying, well, Ryan, I bought an old house. Well, when you buy the house, normally they do, many inspections for termites and such. So, again, this is when you have pests like this, rodents or another thing, it's your responsibility as a homeowner to mitigate that, to keep that risk as low as possible. Again, insurance is there for sudden things, not things that happen over time. And again, that's another thing that does happen over time, because it's not like overnight termites or pests are going to ravage your house. So again, sudden, not things that take time. Moldy surprise in the bathroom, not covered. Unless it's from a covered disaster, mold equals your mess to handle. Mold grows from neglect, so that won't be covered. Again, neglect is lack of maintenance. So if you're picking up what I'm laying down, there's a whole big thing of lack of maintenance. I'm not saying neglect, just lack of maintenance. Maintenance is something that as a homeowner you are responsible for. Again, if you were renting a house from someone, the landlord would be taking care of that, not you. But you as a homeowner, these are responsibilities that you should be carrying out anyway. And if it's something where you physically can't do it, then ask. Marcellus Informed, your local informed group, wherever you're watching this from. There's people that will come help you. Whether they're contractors or just people doing side gigs, they will help you. And I think I have a couple more here. Let's see what this one is. Tree roots in your pipes not covered. Home insurance doesn't do landscaping or plumbing if it's preventable. Again, this is we're kind of beating the drum of lack of maintenance. Now, this is something that you could it's under the ground, so it's something that really how do you maintenance this? Well, you can mitigate where, especially like if you live in town here where you have to, city water. Make sure there's no trees planted right next to where the water line comes into your house. If you live where there's a well, kind of the same thing. And another thing when it comes to tree roots and stuff like that is your septic. And this is something that, with your septic, you can call a company that will pump and do maintenance for your septic system. So again, rule of thumb for that is always 4 years. So kind of a good memorization tool with that is presidential election, Summer Olympics. Put that septic maintenance. Put that on your list as well. So a couple other ones that I don't think I made. I made slides for is gutter or drainage issues. We talked about this last time. Overflowing gutters causing water damage. If it's due to lack of cleaning, you're probably out of luck. Water from a sudden covered peril like wind-driven rain could be. So again, we're getting back to it has to be any claim has to, we have to go back to when it happened. Is there a storm or an incident that happened causing the damage to your house? Not something that happens over time. Cracked driveways or foundations. Settling earth movement or age-related cracks aren't covered. But again, wind blows a tree down, tree falls on your driveway, cracks a driveway. That is an incident that we can go back to and say this incident caused this damage. So yes, that would be covered. For that instance. So kind of the moral of the story here, ladies and gentlemen, is to be like I said, we as your agent, I can submit as many claims for you or for as many claims as we need to. But what the insurance company is going to tell us if it's going to be covered or not. And it's my job to kind of help you navigate these and to kind of give you my best estimate as to what's going to happen. And when I say estimate, it's not about the dollar amount that's going to be covered, because that is far above my pay grade, but as far as what the process is going to look like and the potential outcome. Now, again, I'm an insurance agent, not an adjuster, not an inspector. I do not have those licenses, so there will be times that I will be wrong, and there will be times that if it is a legit claim situation that I have had to go to bat for our clients a handful of times and be like, okay, well, explain to me why this isn't covered. And a lot of times the adjuster and I can come to an agreement, and it's done. What's done is done. But there is something to say about you as the homeowner and your responsibility to keep up the property, keep up your home, keep it well maintained. And when I do these, spring cleaning, fall, winter activities or maintenance tips in videos like this, take them to heart and actually do them. Doing little things right now can avoid big situations in the future. And another thing too is that getting to the responsibility of the homeowner is don't wait until something happens to take a look at your home policy. I would be shocked if I walked down the road and interviewed 50 homeowners and asked them what is their premium and what their deductible is. I have a very good feeling most folks will not be able to answer both of those correctly. And part of it is because they trust their agent, which by all means, that is, you want to trust your agent. But again, some of the responsibility falls back on the homeowner to review their policy, to make sure that their deductibles are right, to ensure that the coverage of the dwelling and any other outbuildings is enough. So in a perfect world, your agent should touch base with you at least 2 or 3 times a year to make sure that everything is running smoothly, or have you made any updates to the home, the roof, a bathroom, a kitchen, have you put up a pole barn or some, anything else that would be considered an upgrade or maintenance to your policy. But in the real world, that really doesn't happen. So as an agent, I have to rely on excuse me, we rely on you as our clients to kind of help us gauge that. We're not at your house, on a daily basis. So for us to know exactly what's going on at your property and around and in your home is almost impossible. So help us help you. Help us help you. And I've told our clients until I'm blue in the face, when you get your renewal, by all means, I will go line by line through your renewal with you to make sure that we have everything the way it needs to be. And especially coming into the situation that I'm in now, where the vast majority of the policies I did not write. So I have no idea what your property looks like, or your home, or when it was built, or anything like that. So if little else, that helps me to help understand you and your home and your whole situation. So, and I guarantee I'm speaking for 99% of the insurance agents out there. So help us help you, because it's our job to make sure that you and your assets are covered, but we need to know what your assets are. So kind of keep that in mind. I like I said, I've been wanting to do this video for a while, and now with the recent storms that have come through, and like I said, a big shout out to my boy CJ for that meme, and in his Facebook post, it kind of was like, okay, this is one of the main reasons why a lot of people do not like insurance, because they pay their premiums and they never get anything paid out when there's a claim. Well, to get paid out for a claim, you have to play by the rules. You might be saying, well, Ryan, where are these rules? In the application that you signed. And that application that you signed is a legal document. It has your signature on it, and a lot of times it has the agent's signature on it. So it is a legally binding document. And you agreed to that whenever you started your policy, if it was 2 days ago or 20 years ago. And more importantly, if it was 20 years ago, then we really need to sit down and talk and be like, because I guarantee things have changed in 20 years, or at least I should say they should have changed in 20 years. But let's have that conversation. Let's make sure that you're covered the best that we can get you. A lot of times, covering you the best that we can get you does include a premium increase, so keep that in mind. And like we talked about a couple weeks ago, in insurance you pay twice. You pay your premium and you pay for something when it happens. And we kind of have to juggle that to make sure that you can afford that. So unless you really know insurance inside and out, and that's the reason why I'm here. That's the reason why I have to take continuing education classes every 2 years, to kind of keep up with the insurance industry as a whole. Excuse me. It can be really confusing. So that's part of my job, is to help guide, whether you're one of my clients or not, guide you through what's best for you. And so my challenge to you is, if your policy has not renewed recently, take a peek at it before the next storm comes through. Take a peek at it. When you're looking at the dwelling coverage, remember, it's how much it costs to rebuild the home, not how much it would cost, not how much it's worth on the market if you were to sell it. So that is a huge misconception, which we've been through many times on videos like this. So take that into account. When's the last time your roof's been replaced? If you did replace it, did you replace it with shingles, or did you replace it with metal? Because the rating, your premium is going to be vastly different for a metal roof as compared to your standard shingle. Have you upgraded a bathroom? Have you upgraded a kitchen? Have you added a bathroom? Have you finished your basement? These are all things. Have you added a deck, a patio, a 3-season room? You know, have you added a wood-burning stove? There are many, many questions that you should be asking yourself. And if you're perfectly fine with what the policy was last year, by all means, let's roll with it. But if there are things that have changed, let your agent know, because there is a certain responsibility for being a client, is to provide the agent with the information they need. So my challenge to you, like I said, get out your home policy. See if everything, if you think everything is covered properly. If you have questions, by all means, ask your agent. And take a look at your deductible. Because as we talked about in the deductible video a couple weeks ago, all companies are pretty much getting away from $1,000 and below, or I should say below $1,000 deductible. So is yours a percentage? If so, how much is it? And if something were to happen tomorrow, could you be able to come up with that deductible? So all of these things that, that as a client, those are your responsibilities. So this video has went on way longer than I thought it would, so I'm going to nip it in the bud, because I will see you each and every one of you next week. And please share this video. Please share this video, because this is a huge misconception that a lot of people need to know about. And I know I'm going to get comments, some hateful comments, and I'm completely all right with that. So let me know what you think. Share this video, and I will see all of you next week.